This is Julian Knapp. This is Kai Zavacharix. And
What's
we
up,
are
you?
here to present to you Kai. So this is Kai. You can see his head. No, seriously. We want to play some Legacy. We already did a lot of Legacy this tournament. We already played 4 rounds of the Spanish Legacy National Championships. And we are here for round 5 of 6. We already locked in some of the top 8 contestants. Some of them are on the verge of making it in. And this is what we're going to watch tonight. So thank you once again to all of our sponsors, to Ultimate Guard, to MTG Playmats, also to the City of Naron, who made all of this possible. Also all of these, I want to say like 20, 30 volunteers.
Oh, yeah.
And these 2
Definitely.
bums from the street, we just like
Big
walked
crew.
in, put on the headsets, acted like we belonged.
Lots of energy.
So let's jump over to the match. First match of our 2 matches for the 5th round in this tournament. And let's see which kind of matchup we're going to get this time.
All right, let's get them.
I have a surprise, still no storm.
Oh!
Here we go!
Nice, dude.
Oh!
Finally, we got some painter action. All right.
I mean, loving it.
dude,
loving it so much.
This is your feature match.
Very much so good. We got Daniel Perez on the right side, sitting still undefeated with a single draw. Oh, yeah, yes, please. Yeah, these are the cards I want to see. And then off the left side, we got Naila Jornet on initiative on 1 loss, so kind of paired up against Daniel. 1 loss, still good enough to make it to the top 8 if she wins on out from here. And initiative you saw earlier today, right? The Hearse there, kind of annoying for Painter. We all know Painter has lots of graveyard interactions, but it's not like dependent on them necessarily. So let's see how this works out. Of course, big downside for Naila here. No initiative creatures in the first 2 turns. No pressure.
Okay. And like this is a little this is a lot to read. I get a Soul Cauldron. Kind of like a difficult Magic card, honestly. If you're, newer to Magic, maybe. I had to read this
It
card
was a
like.
difficult card to me, and I've been
Oh
playing
yeah,
for 20 years.
like I also had to read this card like many times, and I still don't get it. I gotta say. But basically, like you kind of do the same thing as Unlicensed Hearse. You keep exiling stuff, and put counters on your creatures, and the creatures with counters on them get the activated abilities of the stuff you have exiled. So there's no graveyard, and I believe that there will be no graveyard like in this game. Everything that goes to graveyard gets nuked immediately.
Yeah, both players are like not interested in the graveyard here. Interesting, Daniel Perez actually has that Phyrexian Devourer in hand, which is part of the graveyard combo with, I guess, a Soul Cauldron, where you can like randomly win out of nowhere. Probably not going to happen this game because Naila is like sitting on the Hearse, hasn't really needed to use it yet. So the kind of game I expect here is a game of Naila using the initiative creatures and the initiative she just gained against the tokens that the Saga is going to make, because those tokens are going to be pretty big. Oh, by the way, cool mountain. I believe that's from Invasion, I want to say.
Oh yeah.
It was on my short list of mountains to get. I considered a couple of mountains. I ended up going for Portal 3 Kingdoms, white bordered. But that one certainly wasn't a short list of mountains to get. So,
really cool. Going
deep into the Dungeon Duke, I love the aggression. And a second case of Caves of Chaos Adventurer. And also 4th Erlingersnet. I love aggressiveness. Like for the lack of aggressiveness we saw in the first and second turn 3, 4, and 5 are certainly going to make up for it. Dude, let's go full aggro here.
Uh-huh.
But can we even attack? No, that's the question.
Okay, so Daniel making a token. I believe this is probably trying to jump.
Trade.
Oh, actually trade. Yeah. I totally forgot the Great Furnace.
As a lot of people often do.
Yeah.
Dude, I've gotten so many opponents of the Great Furnace.
It's so easy to miss,
Okay, these are going to trade. I'm not even sure if Daniel really wanted to trade there. Probably. But the thing is, like, if you don't trade, at least you get a token, and then you can, like, attack back to get the initiative if Naila doesn't have anything else to follow it up with. Which, of course, is kind of like a big gamble, because, like, she's sitting on all the mana in the world and lots of... Oh, and apparently even... Yeah, we even knew about this card because it was exiled from the attack. So, yeah, certainly makes a lot of sense to trade there. Daniel is in trouble, I want to say. Yes, you get the constructs, but now the Seasoned Dungeoneer is pretty much unblockable. And we move on to -5. Yeah, of course. The next trap is being triggered.
Everyone's favorite trap room.
That's what they call it, trap room.
Oh yeah, it's. I think it's called like.
I'm gonna look it up.
Or like, oh no, I think it's trap exclamation mark.
It's a trap.
I think so. Yeah.
Magic dungeon card. I'm gonna look up the proper name for all of these dungeons, because I think Callum, for example, actually knows these cards. Here we go. The first one is the secret entrance. Then we went to the forge. Then we trap exclamation mark. You're right. Archives afterwards. What's the final one?
It's the throne of the Dead 3 or something.
How do you know that?
Yeah.
And who are the Dead 3? Are they like Kozilek, Ulamog,
I don't even know. And
Emrakul?
see, I haven't even played the initiative deck myself, but there are a couple of things in Legacy you gotta know.
I mean, you're the guy who knows all the artists of all the cards, so I've got to give you a lot of respect
Some
there.
of them.
The relevant ones, you would say.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we get to search the library. We pretty much already have everything we want. We might just get something that cycles, so we make it more likely to find Painter, and it looks like that's going to be the choice. Vexing Bobble, Legacy All-Star.
Oh, yeah. Wait, just to clarify, so if Daniel finds a Painter Servant and activates Grindstone, the game is literally over, right? There's no, like, secret.
I mean, Naila could be sitting on a solidarity, on a solitude. Solitude is basically
Oh,
what gets
yeah.
you.
Okay, I guess that, yeah, okay. All right. So,
That's why you sometimes stop. I mean, here, Vexing Bobble would make it so that Solitude gets countered, right?
Oh, nice, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why Daniel bought it. I don't know if the Painter deck can win, on the fair game against Initiative. I highly doubt it. It's not impossible probably, but
It's a thing, like we've discussed this a lot with Painter players, and of course Painter has changed ever since. A lot of Initiative players didn't like playing against Painter, and then a lot of Painter players didn't like playing against Initiative.
Oh, really?
And I think the matchup wasn't that great for Painter, but it's kind of hard to say. Yeah, this is
interesting.
I mean,
so we do put the Painter in a yard, even though we want to draw it.
I don't like that.
Yeah. It's like, that doesn't make a lot of sense, right? Because
like
there is the unlicensed Horus, after all, so.
Honestly, you put something in the graveyard that you just like don't want to ever draw.
Like what is a card you don't want to draw in this
Lotus
spot?
Petal.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I mean, this one you also don't. I mean, I'd rather draw Lotus Petal than this one. Basically, you want to remove a draw from your deck. You want to thin your deck from a card you never want to draw. Because you already know my graveyard is not going to be a thing, so I'd rather remove this to never get it.
Yeah, we are still tanking on this one. No.
No, we're shuffling.
The Dragon Engine is good. All right. I think they're discussing like Lotus Petal things with the Vexing Bauble, but
Yeah, the Lotus Petal was probably countered by the Vexing Bauble. No, actually, yeah, that's probably what happened. That's why they're about that. By the way, they are using the same sleeves. This is lavender or something, I would call that, like light purple. The dungeon slightly out of focus. We can't, at least on our stream, we can't see it, but we can kind of, like, Naila is in the trap room, right? And I think Daniel never gained the initiative. Oh, I just realized Daniel played the engineer not only because of thinning, but also because it's another creature that can potentially get the initiative right. Ah, okay. That makes sense. Also, if you get like multiple of these goblin effects, you can sometimes create a scenario where you beat the hearse. Right? They like you activate it, they hearse, you activate the other again, and then you get whatever you wanted. So that's one way to do it, but just like with the Phyrexian Devourer in hand, not the most exciting card. Also, are there any creatures with activated abilities in play? Oh yeah, you know what you could have done? Nah, that doesn't work. I was like trying to find a scenario where the opponent activates hers, and then we activate Agatha's Soul Cauldron to at least like, yeah, so we can grow one of our creatures that way. So that's at the very least. Like, we can't copy.
Okay, so we do see an activation here on both sides, it seems.
But in the wrong order. Like, if I was Danny, I would have waited for Naila to activate hers and then respawn Agatha's Soul Cauldron. So I can get the +1/+1 counter, right? There's no activated ability to be copied. But
oh, yeah.
But maybe there must have been something that made Daniel want to play it like that. But okay, so Seasoned Dungeoneer grew. And this is what we talked about, right? Now Naila has all the mana in the world and like so many Haymakers still available. She wants to close this out before Daniel gets any chance to get like Painter. And close. Not too excited about that one. Like, she really wants to lock down the graveyard here, it looks like. Also, she doesn't have red mana yet, right? At least not red mana for 4th Erlingers. She's got, like, Eldrazi, Cavern of Souls red mana, but she's got, like, no mana for 4th Erlingers.
Okay. Looks like we are going in the Throne of the Dead 3 room, the last room. Reveal the top 10, get a creature out of it.
Oh, there's this one creature, I don't remember the name, where you, like, when one of your creatures attacks, you can exile it and then, like, exile cards from a... Is that the one? From the top of your library?
Laelia?
No, no. The one, like basically over here somewhere that we can't see right now because of the glare, but that was the one. I think there's also Bombardiers. Pretty sure there's a pretty healthy choice. I think there's also a Seasoned Dungeoneer. Dude, this is just like everything. Like, if Naila loses, it's probably gonna be because of Painter, I would guess. And I mean, Daniel next turn gets to loot 2. So there's a world where, like, he gets into Painter mana and Painter on the very next turn to just, like, take the game. This is, by the way, why I like Initiative having a single Emrakul in the sideboard. Probably not as much anymore because Painter is not that prominent in the metagame anymore.
Yeah.
But sometimes they have a single Emrakul in the sideboard. And I think that makes sense for decks that are very aggressive. Because what Emrakul does, it buys you a turn most of the time. And that one turn, if you're, like, a really aggressive deck, you can make great use of that. Oh, so what else we got there? We got the Archon as well. And the Archon looks to be pretty big. Oh yeah, that's the one we picked of the Throne of the Dead 3.
Okay. So we got a little bit of a looting action here with the second chapter of the Fable of the Mirror Breaker.
Finally getting rid of
trying to find that Painter Servant, I believe. It's
kind of funny. If Naila shoots first now, she could actually, like, Daniel can respond and remove the Devourer, or actually get the ability to make infinitely large creatures, or one infinitely large creature. But that wouldn't really do it for him because Naila still has blockers. So there's like no good way that Daniel can sequence this, unless Naila royally screws up, which I don't think she will. So we're just adding a second paint. This is what I talked about, by the way. This is once you get 2 of those engineers that you can activate, then you can beat one hearse. The problem is now Naila has 2 hearse.
Right.
It's like you're still not getting there. Okay, now we're removing this one. In response, we're removing this one. So we can now give the ability to our token.
Yeah, Daniel probably explained what this card does. Like, the Phyrexian Devourer is a really strange magic card, I believe. Like, you almost never hardcast it.
The thing is, with a card like this, don't even ask your opponent what it does. Just ask for the Oracle text. Because it's just, like, so complicated. I mean, for people who don't know, basically it has that ability for 0 mana. You can exile the top card of your library, and your creature gets X +1/+1 counters equal to the mana cost of that card, or mana value as we call it. And then it has a separate triggered ability that once it has, like, power 6, you have to sacrifice it. So you can make it really large, but then it just, like, dies. But if you just copy the triggered the activated ability, then there's no triggered ability that says the creature has to die once it gets big. So it can get back, like, really big. And is that actually what we did to our token there? Is that token really a 7/7 now? Interesting. Yeah, you see those cards in exile at the top of the screen? I think we actually exiled those to grow our Goblin Shaman token and kill out a lot of creatures that look to be blocking it. Whoa. I mean, I still like Naila's position here-ish. Actually, I'm not even so sure about how much I like it anymore. She picked up a red source, so she can go for a really big, really big 4th Erlingers. But she's not so sure about it. Dude, when I look at the Painter side, it looks tricky, right? I think Naila has this fully under control.
Yeah.
But it looks tricky, and you feel like, maybe they get me. Because eventually, once Fable of the Mirror Breaker flips and stops being summoning sick, that's basically like a third copy of Engineer. And then you can once again start beating out those hearses. The problem, though, is you're never going to get there in time because the hearses will eat your graveyard before that ever happens. Let's see.
Yeah, I didn't think that this game would be so relevant. Like the graveyards would be so relevant in this game in particular, because it could have gone like a lot of ways, right? Like the painter unfortunately hasn't showed up yet, but if it did, then that could have been like a quick one.
It's kind of funny. Like, Daniel also has to respect Naila going through the dungeon once again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because once you get to the second trap, like, either one of those creatures is immediately lethal. And it looks like we actually have to jump block here, which of course eliminates any chances of us ever getting to the combo through the graveyard. But our Shaman, like right now, Naila doesn't have any blockers. And maybe that's what Daniel is just like preying on, that Naila made a mistake. Like sometimes, as we know, like she didn't make a mistake, right? She still has creatures in hand. But sometimes when you have like no out, then you must figure out like what's the most likely mistake my opponent's gonna make, and then play towards that. And maybe Daniel is figuring, okay, maybe Naila made a mistake, so I'm gonna jump block and then try to kill you with my token on the backswing. Well, we will see how that works out.
Okay. Imagine these Cavern Souls are all naming different things. Anything from human to, oh, I don't even know, like Archon. Is Archon an Archon?
It might be
Creature
an
type,
Archon.
yeah, probably, or a bird or something.
It doesn't look like a bird to me. I mean, it has wings.
Oh no, I mean, because it's also not the bird. It's the dude on top of the bird.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's also why Archon of Amarius Reach is not a dog, right? Of Whaler something is not a dog. Yeah. Okay. So this one triggered. Oh, this one doesn't say you get to play for free, so it should be fine, right? So you play this, but if you try to play Swords of Plowshares afterwards, it's not gonna work. Because you can only play one spell, right? The way I see it. Dude, this is a messy game.
This is like also for a game one.
Loving it. But this is what I want to see, right?
Totally.
This is complicated. I want to say this is why people play Legacy. I don't often say that when initiative is involved, but this is very much from both sides. This is why people play Legacy. Ooh, Naila is like the body language of somebody who made a mistake, so maybe Daniel can still steal this game. By the way, I would totally randomly like use Grindstone here if I had the mana.
Oh yeah, like targeting yourself or
maybe even targeting myself. Not sure about that. I mean, maybe, because the thing is, like, you have Soul Cauldron available. So maybe you can generate a game state where you actually get to use Soul Cauldron. Okay. They're trying to rectify what's going on there.
Also, I don't know like how many cards she has in hand.
But a lot.
Okay.
She has like 5 cards or something in
All
hand.
right, because like eventually if she runs out of cards, then you can also crack that Vexing Bauble.
But actually, I'm not sure where the cards are, because like like on the bottom here, right? I would guess that those are cards in hand. She had a lot. So, okay. Oh, okay, so I see. So the whole confusion about that is because Caves of Chaos Adventurer actually lets you cast a card for free if you've completed a dungeon.
I see.
That's what we missed. Okay, because I remember Caves of Chaos Adventurer not casting the card for free. But since Naila already has completed a dungeon, she was able to cast something for free. But because of Vexing Bauble, she would not. That would be countered, right?
Right.
Ooh,
Okay.
that's a deep interaction. That's, we don't. Like, it's kind of funny. Ever since Vexing
really
Bauble
cool.
came into Legacy, we didn't really like produce game states where people went through a dungeon and then like used Caves of Chaos Adventure. Like this used to be a thing before Vexing Bauble, but then it stopped being a thing, and then Vexing Bauble came in, and all of a sudden like people don't run into these situations anymore. Like even it caught me completely off guard until I realized what's going on there. So she still ends up no, wait, okay, I see. It goes to the graveyard there. You can still pay mana, says says the judge. says Chat. So let me reread that. If you've completed the dungeon, you may play the card this turn without paying its mana cost. Otherwise, you may play the card this turn. It says otherwise, but we have played a dungeon, so we can only either play it without paying its mana cost or not play it. I would think so. I don't think she would be able to play it by paying mana. The way I read the card, I don't think you can pay mana once you've completed a dungeon. Because it says otherwise, and like it's not otherwise because she has completed a dungeon. Anyway, so let's get back into this like another. So you know what this feels like? This feels like when I was when I was a child and I was trying to build a Lego castle, and I just couldn't get there. And then something didn't work. And I feel like this is what they are trying to do when they are trying to repair the game set. Oh yeah, it looks like the Caves of Chaos Adventure is now going to Daniel's side of the board. Nope. There says Naila, I want to keep that card. So I think now it's fully repaired. We're going to drop that Archon. And now, Daniel, you gotta find Painter. I think if you really have to find Painter, then you probably want to sacrifice your Bobble at end of turn to draw an extra card. But yeah,
okay. I guess that opens you up to Solitude, you know, on your Painter. So like, it's tough, right? Like on the one hand, like you have this significant clock on you, so you have to draw a Painter at some point. On the other hand, like you know, like do you gamble on your opponent not having Solitude?
I mean, eventually you'll just have to bite the bullet, right? If you actually were to find Painter through the Waxing Bobble, I mean, it's not like you're not gonna go for it.
Totally.
But I don't really feel like this is a place for Daniel to still win the game from what I've seen. What does he have in hand? Is this Goblin Welder? That's not good enough. I mean, yeah, okay, technically it could be like Goblin Welder. Still not doing it. What if you grindstone yourself? That doesn't get you anywhere. Honestly, you just attack. Yeah. You just attack with your Shaman and hope it doesn't get blocked. It's the stupidest thing you can do. And when it's the only thing you can do, might as well try it. Yeah. So Naila is sitting on 10. He's like, that's a 7/7, that's a 1/2. Don't make the wrong block. Because this is like, initially you would think, okay, I'm going to eat the 1/2, right? Because I got the 2/3 flying. Don't do it. I mean, we are not picking any sides here. Okay, yeah, she's making the right block. Okay, now we are gonna try to remove. What does she have there? We're gonna try to remove the Caves of Chaos Adventure. Okay. And that one's gonna be removed and respawn. Ooh, that's tricky. I think you let that happen because you don't know. Maybe Daniel actually has some graveyard thingies.
Oh, that's a really cool line.
Yeah, it's not good enough. It's too slow. That's still like one too slow because you can put a Painter into the graveyard, and then activate, and then she still has the second hearse. So he needs like one more. Like you know, it's how it's always like you need one more thing than your opponent.
It's like the first person who moves is basically dies.
So I guess you can now activate the copy. By the way, I use a sheep token for this. We talked about this.
Oh yeah.
Makes it much clearer that this is a copy.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
Sheeps are like sheep is like copy.
Sheeps are goats. Yeah.
And then Chat is saying that the Kiki-Chiki was summoning sick, and I also thought so because I was like thinking about it using it like earlier this turn. I was like, nah, it's summoning sick, but now Daniel is using it. I thought it was summoning sick because the confusing thing was he flipped it, and then we went through that whole 10-minute dance of trying to repair the game state.
Oh yeah.
And then it felt like he was going into his turn with it. Yeah. Fable was flipped on the rollback turn. Yeah. And then we went back into Naila's turn, and then came Daniel's. So I thought it was summoning sick, but we'll see. Okay. So that Painter still in the graveyard. Now we're gonna draw next from hand?
Damn.
Woo!
You found it.
Woo!
Is that gonna oh wow. And
that's the one more thing you needed. Okay,
that is insane.
Officially the messiest game of the entire tournament thus far. Okay. That was easily the messiest game I've seen our tournament, but okay, here we go.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's what you get with painters sometimes.
Dude, I love it. I love it. It was like a lot of like back and forth on the battlefield, attacking, blocking, and whatnot, and you know, at the end it was basically grindstone painter. Love that. So yeah, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. It's Julian and Kai, you know, having a blast here in Spain at the Impact Returns. 6 rounds of Legacy, and this is the 5th round, I believe.
Yeah, 5 of 6.
5 of 6.
We just watched the first game. We're gonna get right into the second game, and
let's
see
that.
whether Painter can do it again, or whether Initiative on the play is completely gonna run away with it.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so what do we see over there? We see some decent mana on Naila's side. No soul lens, unfortunately. Caracas, well, she wants to do something on the first turn, it seems. I think we are kind of short of doing something on the first turn, unless that's a 3-drop. Like, if that's Bombardiers, no. Something I don't hate is imprinting Simian Spirit Guide sometimes.
Yeah.
Because then you like it's not like another -1 card advantage thing, but of course you can't always have that luxury. Like if you can go turn 1 season dungeon here, which I think this hand cannot, I totally dove it. Okay, yeah, she imprints.
Yeah, you're probably a little short on mana. Like if you start with a soul land, then maybe. I do like that she kept what's his face? Solitude. You know.
Okay, so now. Do we get... Okay, the thing is, if we don't play anything on the first turn, then I don't like imprinting Simian Spirit Guide. Because now we would have 4 mana and would be able to play Season Dungeon here.
Yeah. I think she changed plans a little bit between the first and the second turn. That's why it looked a little awkward for a moment.
She's got Brotherhood's... What's it called? Like
Brotherhood's
Revenge?
End.
And Revenge. I was close enough.
And in a pitch Solitude. So like the disruption is there, right? Disruption is there.
Yeah.
But we need a little bit of help on the mana, it seems.
We got a lot of 4 and 5 drops here, right? And the 3-drop, of course. On the other side, on Daniel's board, like you're always happy to have a painter with like Blast Up, even though it can... Honestly, if my opponent doesn't play anything on the first or the second turn in Eldrazi, I'm close to trying to blast their land. The problem is, like, if you get Swords to Plowshare in response, like, you don't want to be there.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's worth it. I like that he's just, like, sitting back, even though you might not be able to counter whatever comes out of the cavern. But... Oh! Dude, and now here's the thing. Do you activate? Because there's, like, no way in hell you're going to activate, right?
Okay. Oh, you want to slow roll this?
What do you mean slow roll? She hasn't played anything for the first 3 turns.
Oh, yeah.
She must have something, right?
I guess, yeah.
So if you activate, you're dead. Like, just like no way you activate that.
This is such a different game in comparison to the first one.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Naila has to do something.
The thing is, like, you should have kept the Caracas untapped so you can at least represent the Swords to Plowshares you were representing earlier. I mean, you still have Solitude, and the thing is, like, she has Solitude. She might even be, like, trying to next level Daniel, right?
Yeah, isn't that even better? Like, if you tap out completely on your white mana and, you know, let Daniel think that you're completely out of removal and that there's Solitude.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That's really cool. Yeah, that's really cool. I like that.
So, there's a world where Daniel, like, activates at the end of turn. The thing is, I don't think he will do it, because next turn he can do it with...
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Love the patience.
And now you do it on the main phase. Because you can counter one thing. Like, and she has double Solitude. I mean, okay, whatever. She's got 1 Solitude. I can fight that.
Oh, we got the Pyro Blast target. Yeah, counter target blue spell.
No Emrakul in the sideboard.
Oh, wow. That was a quick one. That was a really quick one. Really dig the patience on Daniel's side, you know, like not rushing anything. Like, it's so tempting to activate Grindstone immediately, right? Like I would have probably like tapped Grindstone. Yeah, probably, because dude, I'm not a good painter player, right? Because you know,
you sit there with like Pyroblast in hand, you know, you got the win with like backup next turn.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
All right. So looks like we're gonna take a very short break, everyone, and be ready for round number 6 in, I guess, like 5 minutes or something like that. So don't go anywhere. It's the boys here in the booth in Spain. You know, we've been having a blast here. Ready for more Legacy in just a few minutes.
Pyroblast. See you next round.